Subcommittee called for the purpose of discussing Councilor Murphy's motion about electronic receipt of materials from the council packet. So if we could have the clerk please call the roll.
Councilor Martin?
Here.
Councilor Mercia?
Here.
Councilor Mendoza?
Here.
3 present.
Okay, so Councilor Murphy filed a motion, I believe the point of which was to allow councilors the option to receive their packet materials by electronic means as opposed to by hand delivery. The current rules provide for a delivery, I think by police delivery. Okay, it doesn't really say the method, but so that's the point of the meeting. We have a proposed vote draft submitted by the solicitor to make a couple of changes, but I'd either open up for members of the subcommittee, or I don't know if the manager wants to weigh in on this, but if Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd be happy to weigh in. We would certainly support, and obviously whatever the council desires, but we do have the ability to provide the packets in an electronic manner. The issue that we do have is that, as you know, we've been making them, perhaps you don't know, we've been making the packets available electronically to the public, typically on Monday mornings. The reason being that the afternoons, Friday afternoons, are generally spent pulling the packets together, making the copies to get out to the council so that we can get them in the hands of the police department by 5:30, and then they're delivered generally on Friday night, but I think the rules that you have are that they be delivered by 1 o'clock on Saturday, and I think we most of the time meet that. I know that there have been occasions where that has not happened for one reason or another. In order for us to get the materials out electronically, if that's what, and I do think that that's a direction that the city should head. Many communities are doing that. It would be helpful if, in putting the putting the packets together, we had everything that we could that we need to in place by about noontime, and that would include motions and all of the other materials that we have, so that we could spend the afternoon putting them together in the packet and then scanning them in and getting them out electronically. And obviously, for the people who still would like a paper version, we could make that available in paper form, again, to go out around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So we think it would save the city money. It would, I think, be helpful to us in a number of ways, and obviously it would be able to go out to the public, a little bit faster as well.
Okay. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the city manager, when we say 4 or 5 o'clock, on what day are we talking about? Saturday?
Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Right.
Usually I get my packet at exactly around 6 o'clock, sometimes exactly all the time.
Right.
It's like clockwork, and my neighbors look forward to seeing the police presence in my neighborhood.
Once a week.
Once a week, knowing that someone in that house isn't coming out with cuffs on, so that's a good thing. But I don't have a problem with this motion. In fact, it's getting into the 21st century. However, being a little old-fashioned that I am, I enjoy the crews that have come to my house. I enjoy it. I have the means to download it electronically. I have that means. I prefer not to use it. I don't have that much paper in the house, but be that as it may, I certainly enjoy that. I know I'd forget something, or something would be wrong anyway, but my computer skills are getting up there, I'm very happy to say, and I don't mind. I like the fact that it is either you could do it with this or that. We have both options. That's wonderful. I know that there are some changes according to rule number 12. Instead of getting our motions in before 2 o'clock, it is now going to be before noontime, and that's good. I'll accept that, because you got to give and take in certain things. As far as that goes, that's okay. I think it's a good move. And I know that people want to free up a cruiser. I understand that. And I don't want to say that I want to tie up a cruiser, but I do feel that when they make a swing in my neighborhood, my neighbors are happy. So thank you very much.
Well, I've certainly been ready to receive it electronically, so I'm more than willing to do that. I don't want to stipulate how others receive it, and so I believe that the rules do, the proposed change to the rules do leave that leeway. I mean, you could actually stipulate at the council or specific councilor's discretion. It may not be necessary to do that, having the understanding. So I think this will accomplish what we desire, which is to allow us to receive it electronically, those that wish to, in order to provide the time for everything to be compiled in electronic form. Moving it to noon instead of 2 o'clock seems reasonable. It's only a couple of hours on that same day. And I do understand the concern about distributing it to everyone, including the public. I assume there might be 2 distribution lists, one for the council and one for everyone else as needed. So
If I may, that may be something that we look to do. I know that some people like to have it a little bit ahead of time. Obviously, we as I said, we scan it as it is now. Our main goal is getting the paper versions out by 5:30, so it can be up to Councilor Mercier's by 6. But and then we spend Monday. A staff person assembles it, makes sure it's all unstapled, put together, scans through, makes sure it goes through the right way. What would be beneficial to us too, though, in this regard is if we did do it electronically, we could get it out to the councilors by roughly 5 o'clock electronically delivered in hand. But we could also, as I'm sure the councilors know, we could then electronically, put a later date that it went out to the public. So it could conceivably be in the hands of the councilors electronically by 5, in hand generally by 6 or thereabouts, and then in the hands of the public by noontime on Saturday. It could be set so that it would go out then, so the councilors have a chance. I do think it's helpful for the councilors to have it in hand before the public has it, so that you do have the responsibility of being able to respond to the public. If they call, you should be able to at least have had it ahead of time so that you can read it and know what people are calling about.
Certainly, I mean, they already generally contact me by email as it is
Right.
when I have questions about council business. So I think this will address the requesting councilor's request, and I'm certainly willing to support it.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Caulfield?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and members of the subcommittee. I guess some from the old school of thought. And for 24 years, I've been receiving the packet in this form. And I just want to echo what Councilor Rita Mercier indicated just a few minutes ago. I want to clarify one thing. The entire Lowell Police Department is running all over the city delivering these. These packets are assigned to the cruiser in that particular neighborhood, whether it's Pawtuckaville, the Highlands, Belvedere, back Central Street, South Lowell, whatever. That cruiser is assigned, maybe there's only one packet to deliver that night. My packets have been delivered as late as 10, 11 o'clock on a Friday night. It doesn't mean that the police officer immediately goes to a councilor's house and delivers this packet. It's delivered when the officer is in that particular neighborhood. And when the police presence is in a particular neighborhood, people take notice. So that's one advantage of having this in the paper form. As I indicated 2 weeks ago, I don't want to sound facetious, but I still have a crank-up phone at home. I don't have a computer. I don't have that ability to receive anything electronically, and but maybe other people do. But as long as this can be delivered in a hard copy to those councils who wish to have that, I don't have a problem with this.
Any other comments? Councilor Mendonça?
Yeah, of course, the next step in this is now that, we've already discussed it, was that now that we receive it electronically, is to be able to, if we wish, to bring in a small laptop to, in order to view it. Again, that would be a choice of the council receiving whether they want to print it out or bring a device in. Now, looking through the rules, there's nothing to prohibit it, so I assume that will be fine if somebody chooses to bring in a laptop to view what they received electronically.
Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you think maybe for the viewing public, you'd want to read the vote? Would this be a roll call vote when we get back to the, when we go to the council meeting?
It would end, right, it would end up being a two-thirds vote, but procedurally, it would have to come back with a recommendation from the subcommittee first, and then the draft that you received would come back as an official vote next week to be acted upon by the council.
Which, the vote?
And then that vote would be a roll call vote because of the two-thirds nature of it.
Well, I'd like a roll call vote on this when we get after the subcommittee report, but also, I'd also like a vote of the council to say what they would like, to go on record as delivered by the cruiser or electronic download. I want to know who wants. I think it should be stated publicly, because to give the clerk an idea and the manager an idea who's getting what here.
Okay.
For the record, thank you.
Well, all right. I don't have any issue with that. I mean, I have a number of questions of my own. I've just been kind of waiting here.
Okay.
But, Mr. Manager, you want to have a response?
I was going to say, I think that, first off, assuming that it's voted next week or the week after, it would, we want to implement the process, and we probably wouldn't be ready to go live with anything until, and people probably want to figure out on their own what they want to receive, whether they want to receive it electronically or in paper form. Maybe not at the time of the vote, but at some later time. We are working with a vendor right now on a piece of software that will help us with the agenda and with the packages that actually sets up well for an electronic, using the electronic version of it. And I believe the hardware that's initially it was just going to be run on Kindles, but I think it's set up now to run on other devices as well. So we can, so councilors may want to kind of look at the different options they have and make a decision down the road. Maybe stay with paper now and then move to electronic, or maybe they're ready to go right now with whatever we have available. But it would probably be, we'd probably be looking at starting this sometime, assuming it is approved, probably making it available to the councilors that wish it electronically, probably sometime in late March, early April.
Okay. When this came up at the meeting, I said I had a number of concerns about it. Some of them we've talked about, but, so this is either or. I guess it could be both. Would the vote allow for both?
I suppose it could. It could. I was going to say we're going to post it online electronically at the same time we send it out to the public, so councilors could get it then, but maybe councilors want it.
Well, I mean, it's one thing, to have something available to you in your email if somebody calls, but it's another thing to have to print out
Right.
300 pages of things, every week.
Right.
And I'm not sure I'm ready to sign up for that, although I might like the convenience of having it there in case there's a question about it. So I think I may fall in the both category. Madam Solicitor, do you?
We can modify the language slightly to include an and/or language.
And the other question Councilman Donza referred to it. So is it your view that the rules would permit a laptop or some other device to be brought into the council chamber? Is that permissible, or does that require further revision to the rule?
It's obviously it's silent as to that,
Yeah.
but I don't think that there'd be anything that would then prohibit it. And I think that just by an ordinary construction of it, the fact that you can receive it electronically, you'd be able to bring in the device that would allow you to read it then.
Right. So, and then, Mr. Manager, I'm not sure I know what the best approach to this is, but, I'm not sure I want, a PDF scan with 400 pages in it that I have to then go scrolling down to find, Although, on the other hand, if you're getting, 37 attachments,
Right.
that's potentially not all that helpful either. So is that the software package that you're, looking at to?
I think it would. I only saw a demo of the
Yeah.
software package once, and so I know that the clerk's office has been working with it, as well as MIS and Donna McIntosh in my office. So I believe it's set up so they can. I understand exactly what
Right.
you're saying. If suddenly you had to look for something on page 342, it's tough to go through all that.
Right, which might be page 17 of the actual report that it's in, and,
Right.
So I don't mean to throw cold water on this, because I think it is progress, and I think that's where we should be headed.
Right.
But there are some logistical things that we're going to need to work out for people that want to make efficient use of the technology we have.
There are communities that have, this is sort of the wave that's happening across all, many city councils and other legislative bodies. I said we'd be looking at trying to do this sometime. We make it online now, and so people do have to sort of scroll through. But for the sake of the council members who, need to do it in the most efficient way, we can certainly explore how other communities have made this happen. The sort of the paperless meeting packages. So. And so that may delay some of this, but I'm not even sure what the date. Perhaps Angela knows the rollout of that AgendaNet. So I know there's been some issues there. So, but we can tie it in with that.
Okay. All right. So any, I guess that's all I have on this topic, Madam Solicitor.
I was just going to say that also, given the point that you raised with respect to PDFs or even plans or things like that, we can also add in language or delivered by electronic means where practicable. So in other instances where there isn't an easy electronic version of something, then obviously there'll be a presumption that it will then be delivered.
Okay. So, I mean, in an ideal world, there could be screens built into these desks at some point, but I think we're a ways away from that.
Well,
So, all right, any further discussion from other members of the council or members of the subcommittee?
No, but I would just entertain a motion to accept the vote on the rules number 12 as amended, I think, because they were amended to include the new direction that the council wants to take. So I would make the motion to accept the rules number
Okay.
12
All right,
amendment.
so that, it's a motion by Councilor Mercia to recommend full adoption of this vote as amended per the discussion tonight.
Right.
I'll second that.
Second by Councilman Donza. Any discussion on that motion?
Oh.
Okay, you want a roll call, right?
Yes.
Roll call on the motion.
Counselor Martin,
Yes.
Counselor Mercia,
Yes.
Councilman Donza,
Yes.
3
Okay.
yeas.
3 yeas, none present. So I think that concludes the business of the subcommittee for this evening. We are going to meet the same subcommittee at 5 p.m. next Tuesday to consider Councilor Murphy's motion about election law issues, and in particular, I think the topics were term limits and district councilors, although I think it's a little bit broader than that. So that meeting is, I think, scheduled for next Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Which is March 8th.
March 8th, correct.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we stand adjourned.